Welcome to another episode of I Feel the podcast, where we discuss the science behind everyday topics. I am your friend and host, Sachi Kaur, and I'm here with my partner.
Tisha King.
And today is a topic I think that interests everybody. How do the dating apps work? Or do they work? Or they don't work? Can we really find love on these dating apps? So let's find out the science behind dating apps. Okay, Tisha, I want to ask you first. Have you ever used a dating app?
Yes, of course. I think almost everybody has tried at least one, or most young people, millennials, I'll say, have tried at least one dating app in their lives. So yeah, I have tried it. I'm still single though, so haven't had 100% success. But yeah, I also have some friends who have found like their life partners from dating apps as well. So it's working for some people.
Yeah,
What about you? Have you tried it?
well, I'm sure that it's working for people. But before that, before I tell you the answer, is that like a shout out that you're single and all the eligible bachelors, the other day, Tisha should DM her. Moving on. Have I ever used a dating app? Honestly, no, I have not. Like, I was on a dating app just, I don't know, for 3 or 4 days.
Hmm.
I downloaded it, wanted to see what it was. And one of my cousin sisters, she just made my profile once, and we were swiping right.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'd say I've used it for 3 days.
Yeah,
Just
so not really. Yeah.
not really, no. So like just to see what the hype is about, how does this really work and all that. And I don't know, I'm a little skeptical about dating apps and finding love through a dating app. I may be old school in that way.
What makes you feel skeptical?
I don't know. I just think like there are a lot of people will have access to you.
Hmm.
The pool is just too wide. And I'm like, huh.
It's too many options.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have too many options, but then I also really truly feel like there can be so many fish in the sea, but there are only a very, very few fish that you want to be eating
Hmm.
in this sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with the swiping, that's where it kind of gets you get in the motion of just swipe, swipe, swipe. It's just like if you on TikTok or any social media, sometimes you're watching a video, you don't even let like 2 seconds of the video play and you just swipe to the next one. I don't know if you do that, but I
No.
know I do that sometimes. It's like I'll look at it and just lose interest within 5 seconds of viewing one clip of it. And
Hmm.
I feel like that's how you get with a lot of the swiping on dating apps. You just like you see one picture and just like no, 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 no.
And I don't know, I also sometimes feel like sometimes the options that you get, okay, I'm like, how on earth is this app giving me these options? Like,
Hmm.
they're nowhere close to the kind of person I would go for. Nowhere close. So, like,
Hmm.
what is this algorithm that's being used showing me the people I would never go for in real life?
Yeah, and speaking of the algorithms, we'll definitely get into that a little bit and how they are deciding who to show you on the dating apps.
I definitely feel that's kind of crazy. But have you ever found somebody like through a dating app, like in the past, even though you're single right now, and
No,
open?
I've only dated like I've had two boyfriends, like official boyfriends, and so no, I met both of them in person.
Ah, okay. So the success rate of finding somebody through a dating app, it's not like,
I guess I've found like long-term friends maybe,
oh, nice.
but not really anything serious.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Trying to think have I ever found. Well, I wasn't on a dating app.
Yeah, yeah.
Found, yeah.
What are your thoughts on when people say that apps like I'll say TikTok again. Apps like Instagram are like dating apps now.
I think it's a little better. I don't really know what I think about it. I
I
mean,
think Instagram can be in some
could
ways.
be. It could be because I'll tell you what. One of my cousins, now her husband, right now, they met on Instagram.
Hmm.
Accidentally sent her a friend request. She got mad about, oh, who the hell is this person, kinda, and went ham on her, on him, sorry. And that's how their relationship pretty much started. And they're married now. So, but I don't know. I'm the kind of person like if people text me on Instagram, guys, if they would text me, I just don't reply.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, I think a lot of people do meet on Instagram now.
hmm?
I think a lot of people do meet from Instagram now.
I think I should just be better at replying. I don't know. I don't know. I don't reply. There have been times where I've gotten messages, like messages and messages and messages and messages, and there was one guy who said, "If you don't want to reply to me, please block me."
Hmm.
What? Okay.
Yeah, you would think someone would get the hint if you haven't responded yet, then
And I'm like, wow, are you really that desperate for a response that you want
seems
me to
like it.
block you? Okay, cool. I guess I'll block you. But yeah, so
They
yeah,
also were probably just trying to get a reaction out of you.
probably, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so how did so do you know how did this whole shebang of like dating apps happened?
Yeah, so pretty much the first online dating app was Match.com, and that was developed in 1995. So prior to that, they actually had some systems of dating apps where there would be questionnaires where people would answer the questionnaires, send in a few dollars, and then there'd be a group of people that would receive the questionnaires and try to match people based off of location. And I guess their responses to the question.
Gosh, that was so many years ago. And I think also like people used to give little like advertisements in newspapers.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or if somebody, so because I saw, I'm a girl who loves the show Sex and the City. Okay.
Hmm.
So the beginning of time, I don't know what year it was released. It was 1995, 6,
Somewhere around there, yeah.
probably around that time. That's when the show started. And I still remember that what was his name? What was that guy's name? Who's the chef and a designer? Like was a designer first of all.
Um,
Charlotte's Charlotte's Anthony.
oh, Anthony. Okay, I was
Anthony
like, I can't remember.
Anthony, the gay guy. I still remember
Hmm.
that he had posted like an ad in
In the
in the
newspaper.
newspaper, and he said, "Meet me at 7 p.m. at so and so street under so
Hmm.
and so pole." And then a guy shows up, and he's like, "Oh my god, that is the person who showed up to my ad." It's kind of crazy, like how things happen before technology and dating apps.
Yeah, that I couldn't imagine because in those instances you can't even see who the person is, and then you have to wait so long to get a response.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, like you're sending something in the mail, and who knows how long that took back then, and then you gotta wait to receive something back, and then they have to do all the coordinating like by hand to figure out, okay, this person likes funny movies, and so does this person, and they live down the street from each other.
So much, but the interesting thing is that we as humans are so wired for love, finding love, wanting love, that I think when the technology came about, they were like, we have to take this in our hands and make something that allows
Yeah,
us to fall in love.
yeah, people will wait. Well, I would think that people would be willing to wait back then, especially if it's not as much of a hurry and most of the things with like talking to someone. It's not like everybody had like cell phones and all
True.
that stuff back then. So it wasn't as much of a rush to kind of get things done or
And
get in contact with people.
now it's a rush. It's like, well, if that didn't work out, I'm going to the next.
Right.
It is a very interesting era. It's
Right, right. I can only imagine what it'll be like in another 20 years.
God, especially with AI.
Yeah.
I feel like people will be able to, I don't know, teleport or something.
I hope so. I mean, I feel like we waste so much time driving around.
I don't know what is
Yeah.
gonna happen. It's gonna be. I think what will probably happen is that there'll be technology that they can project like your 5D image in front of the person so that you're actually of
Mm,
talking to the person
that would be so weird.
in real time, which is close to teleportation. And we know that this 5D thing it's not alien, like it's here now. It's just the technology hasn't been built in for stuff just yet, which I think
Yeah.
will happen like in a few years down the line.
That would be so weird. Just have someone just pop up in your living room in a
Oh,
second.
so crazy, exactly. Like they're
Yeah.
finally out there sitting in your living room talking to you. That'll be
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know if I want that to But speaking of AI, a lot of the apps now, so there's about like 8,000 or so dating apps available online at the moment for
wow.
different groups of people, different age ranges, and so be it. And a lot of them now do use AI to figure out who will be most compatible with another person. And they also, of course, base it off of location, which, you can kind of decide how close or how far someone is to you in the app itself.
Hmm.
So those are kind of like the biggest things that they currently use now to
Right.
match people with one another.
That is actually so interesting. And I was just thinking about what is the success rate of dating, although like you and I have not had any success with the dating app, but like what does the data tell us? And I saw that according to a survey by Shane Coe, the average American will spend about 8 months on a dating app and swipe on just under 4,000 profiles before finding a partner. And 40% of Americans dating someone they met on a dating app say they met on Tinder. So
Hmm.
Tinder is popular, one. Two, you have to swipe 4,000 people to
Yeah,
find that one.
4,000 sounds insane.
I think
Could
that
you imagine just like speed dating 4,000 people?
and like talk. Okay, so there are sometimes you would find people you actually would like, okay, according to their profile and on paper. And then you have to talk to the person. And then like do you really talk to so many people and then find the one? It's
I feel like you can't be interacting with all 4,000. I'm hoping that this is just like I've just looked through them and mhm.
swiping forever and then finding the one. But that is so interesting. So this does have a 40% success rate.
Yeah, like I said too, I know a few people who are like in very serious long-term relationships or married now, and they
Mhm.
met on dating apps.
That is very, very interesting. So now that we are actually in this AI boom, and of course, like the algorithms, even for dating apps, for any kind of technology that we're using, they keep on changing. But what was so interesting to me was like how the number one dating app at that time, Match.com, started off and what algorithm they used. I think in the beginning they were pretty much using like your preferences. What does somebody like to eat? Where does somebody live?
Mm-hmm.
Even the location I think came about a little later, but there were certain questions you had to answer, very very basic ones, and based on that they used to match you. And
Right.
later on they realized that a lot of people were feeling like they're not really getting the right matches or the right people.
Mm-hmm.
So this was, I think, in early 2000s that Match.com recruited a woman called Susan Fisher, who is
Hmm.
a relationship, love, and science expert. And she's also, I think, the New York Times bestseller. She's been the New
Like
York
she's
Times.
written books
Yeah,
and
she's written a lot of books, and that is how actually one of the persons from Match.com discovered her, reading
hmm
the book on love, relationships, and science, and what is the connection. So when she joined, she started, we all know about the Briggs Myers personality test,
yes.
right? So she kind of developed a test which was very much related to your different personality type. And it's also said that depending upon the amount of estrogen or testosterone you have in your body, there are different type of people you'll attract.
Hmm.
So she kind of used that data with like the estrogen and the testosterone levels and how that relates to personality.
Right, right,
So she clubbed those two and made this questionnaire or survey that when you're joining the app, you have to answer. And
right.
since then, like people started actually finding, their actual matches or like much better matches as compared to whatever was being used before.
Hmm.
So the way she integrated science, personality, and love was amazing to me. And I think now a lot of different apps they use these different kind of personality tests to find the right matches.
I wonder actually now that I'm thinking about it, if Match.com still does something similar to that, where they kind of ask you questions to better gauge your personality and if they do have a better success rate than any other dating apps, because I feel like most of them don't really ask you much about yourself. You kind of just pick which questions or what you want to tell,
Right.
and it's not really a personality thing. It's just more of a who's available and what do I like about their profile, what do they like about mine. It's like you more so choose what you want to show as opposed to being matched based off of
The
you know
personality.
your yeah, your personality.
That is interesting to me because I think so. This app that I downloaded for 3 days was Bumble.
Hmm.
And Bumble asks you so many questions. And I was like, oh my
Hmm.
God, even getting on a dating app is exhausting. Uh, but it makes sense because I felt they did ask so many personality based questions, which were like, okay, this or that. What would you prefer? Well, even some questions related to your love languages.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think they are pretty good when it comes to this analysis and using all this data and information and then matching people. So, I mean, but then again, with Bumble, it's like you have to pay to even know who is swiping right.
Right.
I think that's the kind of business model that they have.
I'm not sure. I haven't used that one. I tried Hinge and more recently, and that one you can just pick what prompts you want to show. Like you pick what you kind of want to talk about. So they don't ask you, I mean, they ask you where you are. They know that and like, the proximity of what area you're looking in. But other than that, you just kind of craft your profile kind of like if it was social media. Like
Mm.
you choose what you want to share, what you want to show, and that's kind of it.
So it's like no questions asked. Just tell us what
Right,
you. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, interesting. I think that's the reason why the matches, I don't know, I feel like wouldn't be the best on Hinge. But Bumble, then because of this advanced model, also charges you more to be on it
Hmm.
and see
Hmm.
who's liking you, who's not. So I think that's the kind of model that they have. But it's just so interesting how these different, you know, websites, apps use different kinds of models for all this.
Yeah, I guess you get in what you pay for.
You're getting, yeah, that's true. You're getting what you pay for. And what I think what Tisha and I were also looking at is what is the actual neuroscientific system that is being used and what happens in our circuitry when we use these dating apps. Okay, so there is something very, very interesting on the when we're looking at the different models that these dating apps use. One that comes to the top, even from the neuroscientific perspective, is this connection between dating apps and casinos, all right, and their relation to the brain. So, so the first thing is user engagement and gamification.
Yes. So we all know that, like we've already talked about with the swiping, it's kind of like you just get in the mode of doing it. It's exciting to see what's up and coming. And, it is kind of like when you're at the casino, you're pulling the slot machines down.
The slot
It's
machine.
the, yeah, it's the same logic that goes with one or the other. You kind of become used to the motion, used to the addiction of seeing what's coming next. And psychologically, it does affect why we continue to use it or why
Exactly.
people continue
And
to use it.
I think that's what with a lot of people, like it was said you have to swipe 4,000 times to actually get to the one. So it's like I think every time when you hit the slot machine in a casino, you're like, maybe this time I'm gonna hit the jackpot.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's the exact same model that these dating apps are using. It's like maybe this time I'm gonna hit a jackpot. Maybe this time I'm gonna see my person that I want to be with. So that is very,
Right.
very interesting, and that is why, gamblers are addicted to this kind of a model. And
It's the thrill of it all. It's like it is exciting once you first download it. You're like, oh, let's like see what is to
let's see
come
what's
of
out there.
this.
Let's see how many
Yeah.
fish are in the sea, and like let's see when I finally find my person. But also, it can get so exhausting.
Yes.
Yeah,
It can be exhausting, especially if you're getting a lot of like feedback in, or you are just getting tired of swiping in general. It just can be overwhelming, I think. Like 4,000, it's just insane.
just too much, too much. And also, when you're talking about, in both dating and gambling, there's an element of risk and reward. So in dating,
Right.
obviously, people take a chance by approaching someone they're interested in, and the reward can be a successful relationship. In gambling, they are risking, their money, and they're hoping that they will probably win a large sum one
Hmm.
day. So I think that's what it's interesting.
There's a lot of anticipation associated with both. You go
I
to the casino, you like, I'm excited because I have the potential to win so much money. And then on the apps, I have the potential to find love, or, maybe it'll go horribly. You just never know what's going to happen. It's the unknown.
Right. The unpredictability of it.
Right.
It,
Exactly.
it causes more activity in the reward regions because we know that there's a possibility of a reward.
Right, right. And we have all that dopamine firing. It makes us want to continue to do it, want to continue to engage. Even if you aren't getting positive responses, your brain is still telling you, let's just see what's out there. Let's see what happened. The next one might be better.
And what is crazy, okay, is humans love to look at hot people. Humans
Yes.
love to look at someone that is attractive. So I was looking at this. There's this study, okay, in relation to the brain when we're talking about dating apps. So we like looking at hot people. When people use apps like Tinder or Hinge or Bumble, they're presented with a different array of images. And there was a study which was led by Vasilev Klucherev from the F.C. Donder Center for Cognitive Neuroimaging in Netherlands, which found that in the nucleus accumbens, which is one of the brain regions which processes, images and processes the dopamine release as well, and it's one of the parts which is involved in the reward process.
Hmm. Hmm.
That nucleus accumbens has so much more activity when people view attractive faces.
I definitely believe it. I mean, I think everybody likes looking at something nice
Somebody nice, somebody
or
attractive.
someone nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So whatever it is, I think being attractive gives you a lot of brownie points when it comes to dating apps. Or if you look
Yes.
attractive in pictures, because There are people who look good in person, don't look good in pictures. There are people who look
Hmm.
great in pictures, but they don't look as good in person.
Yeah, being photogenic.
Yes. So it's, yeah, you have to be photogenic to have lots of matches on the
Yes.
dating app. And I think what was also so interesting when we were, doing this research, people also believe, first off, of course, like attractive people are more intelligent, they're more sociable, they're more competent, they're more trustworthy. And what was insane was that even mothers are swayed by looks. And a study by developmental psychologist Judith Langlois found that mothers are more affectionate towards attractive babies.
I would believe it
I was
because,
oh well shit.
yeah, something has to make you want to take care of that baby.
Is it
Yeah.
gonna be that the baby's cute?
Yes. I
Is
think
that
that
what is
definitely,
it?
I think that has something to do with it. You have to be like,
So
oh, look at it. Like, I just want to hold it and help it and take care of it, even though it's driving me nuts.
that is honestly, I know like parents would never admit if they like one child over the other. But I think if the study has shown us that being attractive makes, like, if your child is very attractive, the mom's going to be more affectionate. Well,
I wonder if that has anything to do at like daycare centers and things where there's a lot of kids and maybe one is, how just little kids, like maybe a girl is cuter than another or whatever. Maybe kids just have like that face
more
where
attention. But what also,
yeah.
well, although, like, it's not related to dating apps, but what I'm also thinking is, what if, like, in the early stages of life, right? You're a very cute child, you've gotten all the attention. I think you will be very used to it even when you grow up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Children who didn't really get all that attention because I don't know if their sibling was cuter than them, would that actually become a part of them and become that, I don't know, insecurity complex when they're growing up, if that study is true?
Yeah, it seems like it would have something to do with your personality as an adult. I think, everything from your childhood kind of peaks out in adulthood in different ways. So,
Yeah, you will definitely, I think, see it when children grow.
yeah.
So mothers have to be a little careful. Don't just stay
Yeah.
affectionate to the attractive child, please, ladies,
Yes.
parents. Yeah.
So the last point that we wanted to point out with the similarities between these casinos and the dating apps is the addictive aspect of it. So we all know, like we mentioned before, the thrill in the casino. You can go in, just think like this next one is going to hit. I'm going to win thousands of dollars. What does my last $20 have to do in comparison to what I could possibly win, And I think the same can be said for the dating apps. And I think that's where that 4,000 number comes in again, because if this is an average, just imagine there's people well above 4,000 as well who are just swiping, 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 swiping. And I mean, if you're on it for an average of 8 months, again, that probably there are people that are on it for longer as well. I just can only imagine how many swipes are each of the apps are getting a day.
No idea. And I think, I mean, there are hundreds and thousands of users on these
Hmm.
different kinds of apps.
Right.
And
Right.
it baffles me how much business they're getting. Like,
It's a good business idea, business plan. I'm sure it makes all these companies lots of money, even just off of the ads and things that they can display through the apps. I'm sure that they're making a lot
money.
of money. Yeah.
Everything in the pursuit of love.
People would definitely pay for that.
Of course, 100%. All right, so this was so fun talking about dating apps and all the different models that they're using. So, well, this concludes our episode pretty much. And now I think it's for all the people out there to decide if they want to use the dating apps, knowing how the system actually works, specifically this whole casino slot machine system.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
either be in for it or don't. I just hope everybody finds true love.
Yeah, and if you've had some crazy dating app stories that you want to share with us, please do that and let us know. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, do all of the things. Leave us some comments of other things you'd like to hear us talk about or research as well.
And I definitely do want to know from people how many swipes have they made before they actually found the one.
Yes, definitely let us know.
Yes, let us know how many swipes have you made on different dating apps. We would love to know that.
Alrighty, well, this concludes this week's episode, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.